Hello and welcome back, Cosmic Family. We are here to talk about our weekly forecast for the week of August 9th through the 15th, and I am calling this week the week of golden opportunities. Hello, everyone. I am your astrology coach, and I am here to help you get through the world, get through life. I love to use astrology to help us identify what energies we are coming into contact with each week and how to use that energy to your benefit. And that's why I call myself the astrology coach. I want you to know what is out there so that you can make the most of the energy and have a really good week. So we are just coming off of the Lion's Gate portal. That actually is today when I'm recording. So if you haven't watched the Lionsgate portal video, be sure to watch it because it is specific to each sign and what energies you can manifest, what you might be encountering. And this portal is open for quite some time. But if we are talking about what's to come this week, we have some exciting things coming this week. We've got a solar eclipse, a new moon, nothing to be afraid of. We got some great flowing energy, and I am going to introduce you to a few asteroids as well in the mix that we will be encountering. So I did put out your full August astrology, but if you like a simple breakdown of what's to come for the week, I'm glad to have you here. And if you want me to continue this content weekly, please give me a like and let me know in the comments. But for now, I'm going to go through an intro of what energies are out there, and then we will look at each sign. And you can see what's in store for your specific sign because it is different. And let me tell you, this week, the energy of this week, I think it will be really good to be a Capricorn. There's a lot of good energy around your career. And if you are an Aquarius looking for a relationship, looking to up your relationships, I think it's a really good week for Aquarius. Overall, it's a good week for everyone. We do have a solar eclipse, but I think it will be a very positive solar eclipse because there are a lot of benefic planets. So again, you can go back and watch my Lionsgate portal. That is still open, and I hope you are manifesting great things and great things come to you. But let's get right to it. If you want to grab your drink, your cup of coffee, I'm drinking my coffee from my Wheel of Fortune mug. I love this mug. It's one of my favorites because I am recording early Lionsgate portal morning. So thank you so much for joining me today. I'm just going to give you a basis. We will jump into each sign. So I'm going to introduce you to the asteroid Ceres. And on the 10th, Ceres is conjunct Mars in the sign of Gemini. Now, the Ceres archetype is the archetype of protection and boundaries. And it's interesting when Ceres merges with Mars, which is all about drive and action in the sign of Gemini. Gemini is all about intellect and can also bring about some nervous energy. So Ceres wants to nurture while Mars wants to fight, push and move fast. So this conjunction can translate to nurturing through information, possibly defending ideas. It could also lead to information overload, being that it is in Gemini. So again, I just want you to be aware of this energy. Information overload certainly can cause the body to react, to get into fatigue and cause some additional mental stress. So make sure you do your best to keep calm, do the things that you enjoy in life. And again, I'm going to get into this in my all signs forecast so you can see what house this is in for you. Now, in my monthly updates, I also talked about Mars entering the sign of Cancer. That is also on the 11th. So there is some Mars energy here. Could give you more drive, more agitation. Again, just something I want you to be aware and cautious of. Here's a neat piece for you. I'm also going to talk about the asteroid Psyche. And that is conjoining Jupiter, which really is a grand soul awakening, really can help us overcome the shadows, bringing things into the limelight for us, bringing us some clarity and some positive energy. We also have Eros, which is the sign of love, I found interesting, opposite Chiron, which Chiron is the wounded healer. And I talk about that in a previous video as well, because Chiron is changing signs for us. So again, we see this tension between what we desire and what needs to heal. So Eros is just going to bring more awareness to that. Some common themes here could be old relationship wounds resurfacing. You might even be feeling attracted to someone that makes you feel vulnerable. This could also help heal any sexual or intimacy insecurities that you may have. You may also be revisiting questions about your own self-worth or whether or not you are enough. This could also help you use creativity or passion to heal. So I want you to look in your natal chart to see if it is activated by anything specific in your natal chart. If it happens to be in houses 1 and 7, this will impact your relationships and your identity. In houses 5 and 11, this will impact your romance, your dating, friendships. And of course, if it's in houses 4 and 10, some family wounds may be resurfacing, and it could affect your career and your public life. If it is in the 8th house, we might be looking at deep emotional boundaries being set, some trust issues. And again, that could also have to do with some shared resources. So notice and see what this week brings to you. And again, I'm just hoping to introduce you to this content so that you are aware going into this week and you're not going to get surprised or shocked by anything that may come up. Now, this is a collective astrology reading, not specific to your sign. So I do always say bring your natal chart to our sessions, because then you can see if you have any natal planets that are touching any of these specific points I get to today. If you have not drawn your natal chart, I show you how to do that free using free software in a video that I will link in the notes. Now on the 12th, we have this solar eclipse, new moon in Leo. One thing I didn't mention in my August horoscope is that this is trining the asteroid Pallas. Pallas brings strategy. It brings new beginnings. It helps us to problem solve. It can encourage wise leadership. So Pallas is going to really raise you up here during this solar eclipse. I think it's just going to amplify the energy more. Going back on the 10th, sorry, I'm jumping around a bit. We also have Venus in Libra. All right, Venus is very happy in Libra. That is her home sign. Venus will be opposite Neptune retrograde in Aries. So Venus is very strong in the house of Libra. Neptune, kind of brings a dreamy quality, but because Neptune is retrograde, it will really have us questioning those things, that house that Venus is in. So Neptune forces us to look within and almost releases the fog, so to speak. Neptune retrograde can also help us revisit old dreams, old relationships, or old expectations. And we really can learn a lot through Neptune retrograde. Neptune is retrograde through December 12th, and we can expect things within those houses to really clear up in that time. It's not going to be a sharp, boom, this is changing. It's really going to be very gradual between now and December, helping us to be aware of those things. Also on the 10th this week, we have Venus trining Uranus in Gemini and also trining Pluto in Aquarius. This is a beautiful, harmonious air trine. This will help emphasize communication, relationships, social connections, and innovation. really causing our relationships to evolve in healthy, exciting ways. I told you this is going to be a good week. We could see some new ideas, some unexpected opportunities emerge. It's really a positive, natural transformation. Like I said, it's not going to be sharp. We might be involved in collaboration that could open new doors for us and really give our creativity a boost. Now, at the end of the week, we have a Mercury-Jupiter conjunction, and it's actually sextiling Venus in Libra. So again, more positive energy. So Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, they are all benefic planets. They all want us to be happy. They want us to be successful. So this brings about brilliant, optimistic, a positive transit for the whole collective. And that will affect where it lands in your house, which I will get into in a minute. But the Mercury conjunction is all about the communication of ideas, right? Jupiter brings luck, abundance, opportunity. Venus is in its domicile, so she's going to bring about harmony. She's going to make you very charming, bring some opportunities to you. So overall, the vibe for this week, I am calling it golden opportunities. There are so many opportunities out there. That's why it's so important to pay attention to the astrology. If you don't know, these things will just pass you by. If you know they're there, you know, like, okay, this is a good week for me to really take a chance in my career, or this is a really good week for me to get out there and meet new people. So golden opportunities, people. Your words this week with Mercury, Jupiter conjunction, you're going to carry authority effortlessly. So you can be involved in high stakes communication. It could bring about love, business, or media. So let's jump in and see what is in store for your sign. All right. All right, we are going to start with my Aries sun, moon, and rising friends. Remember, you are either looking for your Aries rising sign or your Aries sun sign. If you are over the age of 40, you may relate more with your sun sign. I like to listen for both signs because they both tend to be relevant for me. So Aries, all right, we are starting with the Ceres Mars in the third house. And Ceres is listed here. It is the A right here in the third house of Gemini. And you see we have Ceres at 28 degrees and Mars at 29. So this is happening in your third house of communication, local environment, siblings, neighbors, short journeys as well. So what we can look at here with this conjunction is some high-speed mental output, some active networking, your ability to nurture others through possibly sharing your own resources. Something to watch for with this conjunction is you may find yourself being impatient. Be careful of your words this week. Maybe some sharp words with siblings or neighbors. So give yourself and other people around you a little bit more grace this week. All right. Also on the 11th, I mentioned this in my August recap, we do have Mars entering the sign of Cancer. So this is a shift for Mars. We know Mars brings energy, wants things done quickly. Cancer is the sign of nurture, the sign of family. Now, this is happening in your fourth house, which is your fourth house of family. So to have Cancer here, I would say you probably are a very family-oriented person. Like I said, Mars here might just give you a little less patience with family members. Let me see. We also have, oh, Sirius is also here. And I talk about Sirius in the Lionsgate portal. So Sirius is all about royalty, leadership. So interesting that that is also there in your fourth house as well. In your fifth house, we have Jupiter and Psyche having a bit of a conjunction. So you see Jupiter here at 9 degrees Leo in your fifth house. And then this is Psyche that looks a little bit like a cactus at 10 degrees. So this is happening in your 5th house. This is your house of good fortune, self-expression, creativity. It can be the house of children, romance, and hobbies. So with Psyche here, it's going to give you a little bit of a surge of confidence, a surge of positivity. It's going to make you feel a little more creative, a little more fun, right? It could also bring about some good times with children, right? If you have children, you may have some celebrations coming up there. With Pallas here in your 5th house, so I'm jumping ahead a little bit. Pallas is in the 1st house, but on the 12th, we have this new moon eclipse that's happening in your 5th house. Pallas is over here at A4 in your 1st house. So what we have is a trine from this new moon, from this eclipse to Pallas in your 1st house. So remember, the 5th house is your hobbies, your creativity, your children. So go back and watch the intro where I give a more in-depth talk about what these asteroids mean. But with Pallas there in your 1st house, trining this new moon eclipse, it can really bring some long-term potential into your hobbies. Really building a legacy almost. So if there's something that you are working on, whether it's a book or a project that you're working on, you're painting or you're creating something, with this trine to Pallas, you can really manifest some longevity with any kind of new business that you might be building. Next up, we have this Venus in Libra in opposition to Neptune in your 1st house. So Libra is the 7th house, your house of relationships. This is partnerships, legal contracts, marriage. It can also be the house of your opponents. So with this opposition to Neptune in your 1st house, I am thinking this is going to really bring a spotlight on those partnerships, on the relationships that you have. Maybe considering, have you idealized a partner too much? Have you sacrificed a little too much? I think Neptune is going to bring a little bit of awareness here. Really make sure you are engaged in honest communication here. And I do believe if you do have a healthy relationship, some honest communication can help strengthen the relationship and help to move things forward. Otherwise, you may have an unrealistic view of this relationship, and maybe you need to go back and reevaluate. So really consider, is this relationship working? I'm not saying it is or it isn't, but Neptune is going to really force you to look within. Neptune will be in retrograde through December 12th, and Neptune will be helping you to bring some clarity around this situation. Now, the other piece I want to talk about is this beautiful air trine that we have happening in houses 7, 3, and 11. So we've got Venus in your 7th house, Pluto in your 11th house of friends, social groups, clubs, your hopes and wishes. And then we have Uranus in your 3rd house. All right. So this is an air trine. So this will really highlight your relationships, your community, your friendships. It's going to affect how you communicate with those people in your social groups, in your networks, or maybe your significant other. It's possible to meet someone new through social media. You can meet someone new through a class or a mutual friend. If you have an existing partner, This can also improve any relationships that you currently have. Through your communication, you may find someone with shared goals here. All right, so again, a beautiful flowing trine. Uranus could bring about more sudden shifts, like it's going to be something a little more fast moving, or maybe it's someone that you've known all along and you're like, oh, wow, and you're just going to have something new flourish. All right, and Pluto's going to really help to transform that. And it is going to have to do with a long-term partnership relationship. So whether you're strengthening or creating something new, that's what you've got in the week ahead. All right, we also have a Jupiter Mercury conjunction. Let me erase this trine here. And this is sextiling Venus. So I'm going to move my chart ahead here if I can, and it won't let me when I'm on my eraser. All right, so we've got this Jupiter Mercury conjunction happening again right here in your fifth house, and we are sextiling Venus right here in your seventh house. So again, you've got some positive relationship stuff happening here. If you are single or if you are in a relationship, we may see some romantic sparks here, right? Things are going to amp up in your love house. This could bring about a high level of communication or collaboration if you are looking more for business partnerships, or any kind of passion project that you are working on. You are going to have some real magnetic alluring factors happening for you this week. Your magnetism is just going to be through the roof this week. You're going to have some effortless charm, warmth, fun. Oh my goodness, on the 14th, mark your calendar because that is an ideal date night for you. So, all right, Aries, this is kind of a good week for romance. So I hope you enjoyed. If you like this content, if it resonates with you, please give me a like, give me a subscribe if you want to see what's up and coming next week. And we will be moving along to the next sign, which is Taurus. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising, we are on to you. And it looks like you have a lot being highlighted this week in your fourth house, which is your house of home, roots, family, culture. It can also do with your childhood, your parents. It is also the house of the mother. But first, we are starting in your second house, where you have your Ceres and Mars conjunction. So be sure to watch the intro if you want to learn a little bit more about these asteroids. Ceres is an asteroid which is conjuncting Mars, and you can see right here in your second house, which is your house of money or sense of values, your earned income, and your possessions, and basically your self-worth. So Mars is going to bring about action. All right, Ceres, as I talked about in the intro, is going to just kind of amplify and give you a boost to your earning power this week, right? Who doesn't like that? So again, this is happening in your second house. A good time to invest in mental tools. You can invest in education or just any skills that will help boost your earning power. So a little boost there to your second house. Now, on the next day, actually, it is happening on the 11th, and I do mention this in my full August horoscope, but we do have Mars entering your third house of Cancer. So again, Mars is going to bring some action. He's not so happy in the third house because he's not very fond of Cancer. They're kind of like opposite personalities. So Cancer is very nurturing, motherly. Mars is more action, let's get things done. So watch your patience there in that area. So Taurus, next up we have this Jupiter conjunction with the asteroid Psyche happening in your fourth house. And Psyche is this cactus-looking object that is in the sign of Leo. So again, Psyche brings about soul level themes, experiences that transform you psychologically possible soul connections, or just a recognition of being seen. So with this happening in your fourth house conjuncting Jupiter, it can be a major breakthrough happening in your private world, possibly healing some ancestral patterns, or even creating a domestic sanctuary. So just this beautiful sense of peace that's happening in your fourth house. All right, so that is with Psyche. And then we have this new moon that is happening and eclipse. And we see that happening on or around August 12th for you, depending on where you live. Again, this is happening in your fourth house. So again, a lot of action here. You will be seeing new beginnings. And I really think that that has something to do with Psyche being there in your fourth house. So we will be seeing new beginnings involving your home, family, real estate. Maybe you are purchasing a home or selling a home, or even redesigning your home. So what we have here is a trine. So this new moon is trining Pallas, which is A4 in your 12th house. All right, so that 12th house is going to bring about solitude, sanctuaries, and then we are seeing this new moon. So we're having this energy going back and forth between those two signs. Next up, we have, I talk about Libra and Venus entering the sign of Libra, and that is happening in your 6th house of work. All right, so Venus here in the sign of Libra in your house of work, employment. It also can be health, diet, small animals. This is going to bring an optimistic feel to it. However, I'm going to bring up this opposition to Neptune retrograde, and Neptune is in your 12th house, and Neptune will be retrograde through December 12th. So I want you to be careful of hidden stress or burnout. I want you to make sure you are setting boundaries at work. Do not be working outside of your hours. It's okay to say no to things at work because it will be fine, right? Venus is there, everything will be fine. So don't bite off more than you can chew. And I want you to make sure that you plan enough time to rest, reset, and heal, right? That's what Neptune wants you to be doing in the 12th house. We have Saturn there also, keeping you grounded. So yes, things will be good at work, but make sure you take time to enjoy yourself, take time for yourself, right? You need a massage, go get a massage, right? Do some self-care. All right, we also have this beautiful air trine that's happening. Let me go ahead and grab my pencil here. All right, so we have this air trine happening between houses 6, 2, and 10, okay? So this is a trine between Venus with Pluto and Uranus. So again, your work, your finances are all being highlighted. So 6 is your work, 10th is your career, and then you have your second house is your house of finances. So they are all working together in this flowing trine. So you may see your ideas increasing, your income increasing. It's going to really improve your career, modernize your business. It may be giving you more responsibility. And that's why I bring up that Neptune in the 12th house. Don't bite off more than you can chew. But yes, you will be seeing some good things coming with all of the hard work that you have been doing at work. Then we are closing out the week with this Mercury-Jupiter conjunction, again, happening in your 4th house of Leo, but we have a beautiful sextile to Venus again in your 6th house. So this, of course, can bring about some home expansion, some home celebrations, really good work-life harmony. You may be receiving some good news with real estate if you are trying to sell your house or buy a house. We are looking at good news in that area. some improvements with your living arrangements or family matters. This is going to really restore balance to your routine. So we are looking at a pretty positive week for you, Taurus. I hope that you enjoyed this weekly forecast, and give me a like if you want to see what's to come next week. This is my first week ahead video, so thank you for your patience with me, and I hope I will see you come right back here and we can explore what's happening next week. Gemini, sun, moon, and rising, how are you doing? Let's see how the week is looking for you. So again, I talked about some new asteroids that I introduced this week. Go back and check out the intro if you missed it. We're talking about some asteroids, Psyche, Pallas, and Ceres. So you definitely want to bring up your natal chart and see if you have any natal planets with these asteroids, because that certainly is going to make a difference for you this week. But first, we are talking about the asteroid Ceres conjunct Mars in your first house. So Ceres is represented as this lowercase a, and you see it with Mars here at 27 degrees in your first house. So what this means for you is that this week you refuse to let others box you in. This conjunction can also bring about some physical and nervous burnout. So I want you to be aware of that risk. Remember, I am your astrology coach. I'm here to tell you what energy is up and coming so you know how to work with it. Certainly, I don't want any of you to experience burnout, but if you know what's coming, hopefully that can help prevent burnout, and you can say, you know what, I need to take a break here. My brain is in overload right now, especially you're a Gemini, you're always thinking, your mind is always moving a mile a minute. So with Mars here, that's going to be fast, fast. And then when we have Ceres in, Ceres really wants us to look at how we are nurturing ourselves. So if you are starting to experience burnout, that's because Ceres is there saying, whoa, take a moment, take it slow. I know because you are Gemini, your minds are moving fast, that maybe you're not great with meditation, but just take time out, go for a hike. Maybe you're a runner and you want to go for a run, a jog. I know it's hot out. Maybe you go on the treadmill, find some air conditioning, walk around. All right. So let's just avoid that nervous energy and burnout this week. All right, we do have Jupiter and Psyche in your third house of communication. So third house is all about your voice. It can also be siblings and neighbors, short journeys, talking and writing. So we all know Jupiter is down here conjunct. Psyche looks like the little cactus, and they are conjunct here at 8 degrees in your third house. So this is allowing your voice to be a beacon of soul level communication. You can really be inspired to write, speak, or teach. This is a good time to overcome fears of being misunderstood. Okay? So on or around the 11th or 12th, depending on your time zone, we have this new moon eclipse happening in your third house of Leo. So we also have an interesting trine to the asteroid Pallas, which happens to be in your 11th house. So this is excellent for your media. It's excellent for communication. Pallas is going to bring about strategy. Pallas helps you take an idea and turn it into something visible. And you are Gemini, so you are all about that, right? We're thinking, we are problem solvers. So this is going to affect your neighborhood, your siblings, mostly your media, your talking, and your writing. And Pallas is represented as this A4, which is in your 11th house of networks, your groups, communities. So we have this trine that's happening. So your ideas are going to really come together in a clear way. Another interesting thing in this week ahead is we do have Venus entering the sign of Libra. This is in your 5th house, Your fifth house is your house of good fortune, children, love affairs, hobbies, recreation, your home of creativity. And we have this opposition to Neptune, who is retrograde in your 11th house. So we could see friendships becoming a little more romantic. You may also be able to see someone's true intentions. It can also bring about creative inspiration. So Neptune is forcing us to look within, forcing us to really look at our social groups. And like I said, with Venus in that opposition, it could possibly bring more meaning to those relationships, or maybe just looking at how we interact with those relationships. In addition to that, we do have a beautiful air trine happening that is activating your houses 5, 1, and 9. So again, we've got Venus here in your 5th house. We're looking at Uranus in your 1st house and Pluto in your 9th house. All right, so this is a beautiful air trine. This is a lucky air trine, okay? We're going to see some possible luck in the romance, creativity department. It also can have to do with travel or education, possibly receiving some support from someone else. It's going to allow you to feel more confident, whether you are going off and learning something. That is where Pluto is in the 9th house. 9th house has to do with your goals, your direction, foreign travel, any legal matters. Uranus is going to bring about a positive change from that 1st house. And Venus, again, that flowing, harmonious energy to both of those houses. All right, we also have a Mercury-Jupiter conjunction. Let me get my mouse back. All right, and I'm going to turn the wheel. That Mercury-Jupiter conjunction is happening at the end of the week on the 5th house. So that conjunction is happening in your 3rd house, which is your house of communication. Gemini, you are a thinker, you are a communicator. We have Mercury here also highlighting that house of media, of communication, and Jupiter is bringing abundance. So if you are a blogger, if you are a YouTuber, this is a really good time to work on some content, get some content out there. This is activating your houses 3 and 5 because we have, let me erase this trine here. So because we have this conjunction between Mercury and Jupiter in your 3rd house, it is actually sextiling Venus in your 5th house. So really activating your communication, your ideas, your creative romance. Your voice is going to be your superpower right now. As I said, great time if you are launching any media projects, if you are publishing, you can be engaged in fun communication, possible flirting, right? We've got Venus there in that 5th house. So you may be feeling very flirtatious there. This can bring about some new business partners, some new love partners, or just some real artistic endeavors. So that is what I have for you, Gemini. I hope you are looking forward to this week ahead. Let me know how it resonates for you and what comes. But again, we've got, a lot of good flowing energy with that new moon, a great time for new beginnings. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more content and see what's happening next week. All right, Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising, we are on to you. Let's see what is in store for you. All right, Cancer, I would say this week we are looking at a lot of money and family things coming your way. So we are starting the week off with this Ceres Mars conjunction, which is happening in your 12th house. So Ceres is all about how we nurture and we need to be nurtured. So the question here is, how do I nurture and protect what I have? So with Ceres in your 12th house is all about looking within, that solace, that space for meditation. So maybe you are feeling the need to really retreat and look within. Mars here is going to really to bring about the action. So this is going to be all about how you process through things. So how do you process through stress, grief, or exhaustion? The best way to process through those things is to write, journal, find some solitude, be involved in some meditation, because you may find yourself getting into mental loops. Do you keep perseverating on the same thing? Do you let those things get to you? Do you have those hidden anxieties that drain your energy? So these two conjuncting here are going to help you cut those things out. So find that solace and find that way to really inner retreat. I am a Cancer rising, and I tell you, I am guilty of this. I have things happen, you know, at work, and I can't get them out of my mind. So it's very important to have a meditation practice, find those ways to help get those things out of your mind. So if you aren't involved in a meditation practice, I really do suggest it. So Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising, this is your week ahead. So also happening in your second house of money and finances, your sense of values, your self-worth. We have Jupiter conjunct Psyche. And if you are looking in your second house of Leo, it is the symbol here that looks a little bit like a cactus. So Psyche has to do with soul level themes, experiences that really transform you, soul connections, all about being seen. So with this being your house of self-worth, I am thinking maybe you will be seen and you will be recognized for what you have. Jupiter is going to bring about some abundance here. So I would say some luck in your second house, or it will just be a shift in how you value yourself. Are you aligning your income with your true, authentic self? And really thinking about, what is your sole purpose in life? Are you doing what truly makes you happy? Are you exploring different things? Maybe you're involved in a career and a job, but it's not bringing you that passion. So you may be getting involved in a side gig that is going to help bring some more income in. And then we have this eclipse that is happening. So this also is happening in your second house, Cancer rising, second house of finances, okay? You can't go wrong here. Remember, new moon, new eclipse, new beginnings. This is your time to plant a seed. You can plant a seed having to do with your self-worth, with your finances, with your investments. Now we have a really neat trine here to Pallas. Pallas is signified, this asteroid, as A4. That is currently in your 10th house. Pallas is all about strategy, turning your ideas into something visible. How neat that Pallas is actually trining this new moon in your second house. So this is just going to bring about more strength for improving your finances. Being involved in smart budgeting, she's going to bring strategies for new income streams, right? We talked about that side gig. Are you going to have a different monetary flow coming in? Really building your financial security and finding your own self-worth in yourself. Also good for, like I said, building up a new business. Now we also have an opposition that's happening with Venus here. And Venus is in your 4th house. 4th house is family, roots, could be your parents, could also have to do with your childhood. It also signifies the house of the mother. And Venus is in opposition to Neptune, which happens to be retrograde in your 10th house. Neptune is going to force you to really look within and reevaluate what is going on with your career. Are you able to balance it? Do you need to reconsider your professional goals and your family responsibilities? Neptune will be retrograde through December 12th. And from now through December 12th, you can expect to see some clarity between your home and career and your family. How are you choosing to balance and what is visible? Is your career really for you, or is that something that you can expect to see change? So Neptune is really going to work to align your public life with your personal values. We also have a beautiful air trine that's happening. So I'm going to grab my pencil so you can see this. And this is activating Venus in your 4th house. It's speaking to, sorry, lost my pencil here. It's speaking to Uranus in your 12th house and Pluto in your 8th house, Aquarius. So you see we have this beautiful air trine. This is going to allow some hidden fears to dissolve. It's going to bring about some emotional healing, some financial planning, and your investments will also benefit from here. All right, so you can look forward to that air trine happening on or around August 12th. And we're going to now erase that so we can talk about how we are going to end the week on the 15th. We have this Mercury-Jupiter conjunction again happening in your house of finances, 2nd house, Leo. And we are sextiling Venus in the 4th house. So this Mercury, remember, is all about messaging, communication. Jupiter's going to bring luck and abundance. And then we have this 4th house, which is home, family. So this could bring about some career news, some financial opportunities, really helping the home become a source of luxury, right? Venus is going to want to beautify the home. Your home's going to become a sanctuary, and we're going to anticipate to see a bit of some more financial flow to help beautify the home. It's just going to be a comfortable, beautiful time with your family where you will hopefully be seeing the funds to help support your family. So again, you do want to bring up your natal chart. I always say that when we have these sessions. Compare where these asteroids sit in your natal chart, because if you do have a natal planet that's being activated by any of these points, it could certainly influence you in a different way. All right, so Cancer, it's looking like a good week for you. Home, money, abundance, can't go wrong there. I hope that you are looking forward to the week ahead as I am. If you do like this content, give me a like, give me a subscribe if you want me to continue and create another video for next week. This is my first time doing a week ahead, so I hope that it was helpful. Let me know if this resonates with you. Leo, sun, moon, and rising. Welcome to your week. And let's see, I think some major highlights for you, I would say, are happening in your 1st house, which is all about your personal identity, and your 11th house, which is the house of good spirit. It has to do with your social groups, hopes, and wishes. So hopefully we are looking forward to a good week for you. But the first thing we are going to talk about is the Ceres Mars conjunction, which is happening in your 11th house. Now, the asteroid Ceres is all about how we nurture and we need to be nurtured. Thinking about how we are protecting what you have. So whether or not that is resonating with the groups that you are associated with the Mars here in the 11th house, you may be finding yourself taking on a protective role within your social circles, or even using your voice to defend ideas. You may come across some fast-moving disagreements, so my recommendation for you, keep a cool head, stay calm, try not to let things get to you. And that's why, I call myself the astrology coach. I want you to know the energy that's coming ahead and how you can best deal with it. I don't want you to get into a heated argument and then you're banned from these social circles. So my recommendation for you, think before speaking, take a pause, keep a cool head, because you may come across some agitated people within your social groups. Just keep cool, let it flow, go with the flow, all right? In your first house, we have this Jupiter Psyche conjunction that's happening in your sign of Leo. Now, Psyche is this cactus-looking asteroid that is here in your first house. Psyche brings about soul-level themes and experiences that may transform you, some soul connections, just recognition on being seen. So with this happening in your first house, I would say this is going to make your personality very magnetic this week. Have a lot of self-confidence and trust in yourself, really being able to show others your true, authentic self. Then we have this eclipse that is occurring. Let me move my wheel. And the eclipse is happening around the 11th or the 12th, depending on your time zone. And again, that is happening in your first house, your house of identity. This is your personal reinvention, your personal transformation. This is your time to plant your seed of new beginnings, right? What seed do you want to plant for yourself? This could very well make you look different to people. People are going to see you and be like, wow, you look different. You look great. And maybe you won't notice it yourself, but people will be seeing you differently. This is your time of personal reinvention. Now, we also have Pallas here, and Pallas is represented by this A4 in Aries, and that is trining this eclipse. Okay, so we have this trine from the 9th house, and Pallas is all about taking a strategy and turning it into something visible. So this really looks like a personal reinvention for you in how you present yourself, and you will be able to present yourself with confidence. 9th house is all about wisdom. So you're going to come across as very wise to people. Some very thoughtful choices may come up as opposed to having previous impulse. So a good time to really reflect on how you want to present yourself to the world. This really is a personal reinvention for you. Then we have this Venus is in your 3rd house of communication, harmonious communication, and she is in opposition to Neptune. Again, Neptune is in Aries, which is in your 9th house. Now, Neptune is going to be retrograde through December 12th of this year, and really having you look within. 9th house is all about education plans, travel, or even spiritual beliefs. So this transit, this opposition may have you rethinking your education plans, your travel, or possibly your spiritual beliefs. So what I'm asking you, Leos, is to not jump to conclusions until you verify some information, all right? Be patient, keep things slow. Always take time to reflect. All right, also around the 11th, we do have this beautiful air trine that is activating your houses 3, 11, and 7. So let me grab my pencil and show you this. So we have Venus in your 3rd house that is activating Pluto in your 7th house of relationships, and also Uranus that is in your 11th house. All right, so we have this trine, again, activating your house of communication, your house of relationships, and your house of social groups. So very positive, optimistic transit for networking, for speaking, for communication. If you are involved in YouTube videos, this is great for you. launching new podcasts. You also may have new friendships leading to partnerships or collaboration. So if you are seeking any projects along those lines, this is a very fortunate transit for that during this week. And then we are closing out the week on around the 15th with this Mercury-Jupiter conjunction happening again in your first house, and they are sextiling Venus in your third house of communication. This is really boosting your personal power here. You are going to have a very magnetic influence over people, very charismatic. You may find people being drawn to you. You're just going to look great this week. So very exciting for you Leos. I don't know what you're doing this week, but be sure you get out there because you are going to really be drawing in people. Your charismatic power is just through the roof. So you are going to command the room. If you have any celebrations you're going to, projects, work functions, you are going to be received with enthusiasm, charm, and support. So a lot of great things for my Leo friends. I hope you enjoy this content and you are looking forward to this week as much as I am. If this content resonates with you, please let me know in the comments. And if you want to see more, this is my first weekly horoscope video. So I need to know if you enjoyed this and if you want to see more. So please be sure to let me know in the comments. And we are going to move on to the next sign. All right, Virgo, sun, moon, and rising friends. I hope you enjoyed a wonderful Lionsgate portal and worked with that energy. Remember, it is still continuing on. And we are looking at a good week for you. I am seeing a lot activated with your finances and possibly career. So we are going to start out with the Ceres Mars conjunction. That is happening in your 10th house, as you can see up here in Gemini. So this may possibly allow you to step into a mentor teacher role within your career. You are really looking like a problem solver with this energy. You can go back and watch the intro. I do a little more in-depth talk on these asteroids, but Ceres is all about how we nurture, and we need to be nurtured and protecting what we love. So with this being in the house of career, we're looking at, maintaining that career status here. Your success may be managing a heavy workload. I want you to be careful of mental fatigue within the workplace. So don't take on more than you can chew. It's okay to say no. It's okay to turn off the phone after hours because you are appreciated. And maybe people don't always tell you that, but people do appreciate what you do in the workplace. But I do want you to be aware of mental overload here. And the next fun piece, we have this Jupiter conjuncting Psyche, which is happening in your 12th house. So right here, Leo is your 12th house. 12th house is all about behind the scenes stuff, what you are doing within. So it's interesting to have Jupiter and Psyche here because Psyche brings about soul level themes and experiences that transform you. Really looking at some deep soul connections. And Jupiter is going to bring awareness to that. And Mercury is going to really be giving you messages and symbols. So this could really bring about a spiritual awakening for you, Virgos, and really working on clearing out old emotional clutter. Maybe there are things that happened in your past and it's time to remove that and start fresh. And Psyche's going to help you do that. Take care of yourself first before you can take care of others. Pay attention to your dreams because your dream channels are really going to be open wide, right? If you have hidden soul gifts, they will be revealed this week. So I want you to start journaling Tell me about your dreams in the comment, because I think Virgos, you are in for some pretty big, impactful dreams. All right, then we have this eclipse that's occurring on or about the 11th or 12th, depending on your time zone. That also is occurring in your 12th house. A lot of inner deep work for my Virgo souls here. Now, we also have a trine to Pallas, which is represented by a 4. And so Pallas is in your 8th house. This is your shared resources, other people's money. It also could signify magic. So that makes me a little curious, because I did say if you have any hidden soul gifts, possibly could be revealed on or about this time. So being that we have Pallas here, which is all about strategy, turning an idea into something visible, connecting to the 12th house, I really think we may see some quiet breakthroughs, some spiritual growth. Again, important insights in your dreams. I want you to really trust your intuition. Virgos, don't be afraid to reach out. I would love to hear from you. Either sharing your dreams, or is there like a hidden thought, a hidden desire? Some really cool stuff going on internally for you Virgos here. And then we have an opposition. So we have Venus in your 2nd house of finances, which is in opposition to Neptune, which is in your house of shared finances. Again, other people's money or revenue that comes from a job that is not necessarily your career. Could be your spouse's income, something that's coming from the outside. So because it's houses 2 and 8, really taking a look at your investments. They possibly could be taking off, looking at loans or financial agreements. I would avoid any decision making based on optimism. Like, don't anticipate, oh, I'm going to be getting a bonus this month, so I'm going to go out and buy a car. I would say don't focus on that. Wait and let things happen first. Because Neptune is retrograde, will be retrograde through December 12th. So wait for that money to come through first before you are making any large purchases. We also have this beautiful air trine that is occurring, and this is activating your houses 2, 10, and 6. So again, we have Venus here in your 2nd house of finances. Sorry, I went the wrong way. I went a little too far. Speaking with Pluto, which is in your 6th house, and Uranus in your 10th house. Okay, so that is making an air trine between these signs. So again, we're looking at that income in the 2nd house with a career boost in the 10th house, and 6th house is your house of work, which is where Pluto is. So we do have Pluto retrograde here. So that's going to be more internal, looking at your internal work systems. Your talents, though, could be gaining some greater recognition. You may be looking at a promotion or bringing on new clients with some unexpected connections coming your way. Again, like I said before, don't spend the money before you have it. Wait for it to come first. But this is looking, I'm feeling very optimistic for you, Virgos. And then we are ending the week with this Mercury-Jupiter conjunction that is happening in your 12th house. Again, so we're looking at some of those, internal messages, dreams. You're trying to get some messages from the great beyond, speaking to Venus in your 2nd house. So possibly some breakthroughs with inspiration, financial alignment, really seeing your worth, right? Maybe you're not so much looking at the money, but being able to appreciate the things that you have in life. And that makes a world of difference in the changes that we see. You may be receiving sudden intuitive downloads or clarity on longstanding issues that you've had. But this effort is going to translate into financial rewards for you. So Virgo, I hope you liked your weekly forecast. Let me know in the comments if this resonates with you and if you would like to see more of this content. Thank you for tuning in, Virgos. All right, Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising, we are on to you, and we are looking at this Ceres Mars conjunction, which is happening in your ninth house. Your ninth house is the house of wisdom, higher education, foreign travel. So we are really looking at sharing ideas and philosophy. Now, you may experience some friction with people that have different beliefs or ideas than you. So I would just say keep an open mind this week. You may be feeling the need to defend your intellectual freedom or truth. You may be feeling the urge to speak up for yourself more than usual. All right, that is happening in your ninth house. And then we have this Jupiter Psyche conjunction that is happening in your 11th house of Leo. This is your house of friends, social groups, hopes, and wishes. So we see Jupiter up here, and Psyche is represented by this cactus-looking symbol here. And so Psyche has to do with soul level themes, experiences that transform you, psychological connections, and recognition of being seen. So with the fact that this is happening in your 11th house, I might wonder if your social circles are expanding. Are you attracting some support from people outside, people that really appreciate what you do? Are you in the service of helping people, or are you putting content out? So again, this is going to bring about more appreciation. And with Mercury here, this is going to be a really good highlight for you. So I am seeing a lot of activation this week in this 11th house for you. There's a lot of action for Leo. So we also have this eclipse happening also in your 11th house. So let me move this. So you see we have this eclipse happening in the 11th house. And we also have a trine to Pallas here. So Pallas is represented by this A4, and Pallas happens to be in your 7th house, which is your friends of partnerships, marriages, collaborations. So with this trine here to the new moon in your 11th house, we may see new friendships occurring, goals brought to fruition, or collaborations could come about. Just being able to connect with people that have your same shared vision. Now we also have Venus, and Venus is here in your 1st house of Libra, really making you charming, beautiful, charismatic. You're just going to go about with a glow about you. Venus is in opposition to Neptune in your 7th house of relationships. So again, like I said, Venus is going to be increasing your charm, your attractiveness. Are you showing up as your true, authentic self? Your relationships may become mirrors to reveal your strengths or see your blind spots. Maybe you will be taking a deeper look into your relationships. Neptune will be retrograde through December 12th and is just going to bring awareness to this connection between you and your relationships, whether it is strengthening them or maybe you are seeing that they tend to stifle you and push you down. and maybe bringing about some communication in that area. All right, we also have a beautiful air trine that will be happening, and that is highlighting your houses 1, 9, and 5. Okay, so we are looking at Venus in your first house, Pluto in your 5th house, and then we have Uranus in your 9th house, making this grand air trine. Again, really looking at enhancing your charm and confidence within your first house. All right. 5th house and 9th house is going to bring about visibility. And Uranus up there in the 9th is going to really encourage personal growth through travel and learning. Pluto is going to possibly deepen any romance creations. It's going to boost your creativity and just help you to express yourself more. And then we are closing out the week with this Mercury-Jupiter conjunction that's happening on the 15th at the very end of the week. All right, and then they are sextiling Venus in your first house. Okay, so we are looking at your social networks. That is your 11th house, your vision, what you see. Venus is going to bring about some magnetism here. So you are really irresistible, Libras. Leo's going to light up your community sector. So collaborations, group projects, you may be seeing doors open for you in the area of your networks. All right. So a lot of good things happening for Libras, really highlighting you as a person, as an individual, and connecting that with your groups, bringing awareness to who you truly are. That's what I've got for you this week, Libra. Let me know if any of this resonates with you. What are you looking forward to this week? Any surprises? All right, moving on to Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Rising. We have the Ceres Mars conjunction, which is happening in your 8th house. Your 8th house has to do with other people's money. Your shared resources can also have to do with magic. So this week, with this conjunction of Ceres, it's all about how we nurture and we need to be nurtured. So think about how you are protecting what you have and you love. So quite possibly, this conjunction could mean you are tackling complex financial or legal matters or some emotional entanglements, maybe cutting through some superficial talk to address some uncomfortable truths. All right, so where are you looking to take care of yourself within those 9th house ideals? All right, we also have Jupiter conjunct Psyche in your 10th house of career. So I'm going to spin the wheel a little bit here. So we see Jupiter up here in your 10th house of Leo, and Psyche represents this cactus looking thing. Psyche is going to bring about some soul level themes and experiences, which can possibly lead to transforming you psychologically, having some deep soul connections. So with this happening in your house of career, your public recognition could get a major upgrade. You may be seeing yourself stepping into some more public roles this week. We also have an eclipse that's also happening in your house of career, and that is happening on or about August 11th or 12th, depending on your time zone. So again, happening in your 10th house of career. And I'm seeing a lot of career highlights for you, Scorpio. It's really a good time to boost your career, find a new career. You're really receiving a lot of recognition here. So remember, with this new moon, this is a time that you can really plant a seed. And what do you want to fulfill? What do you want to bring to fruition within the 10th house of your career and recognition? So you may be experiencing some leadership opportunities, possibly impressing employers, clients, or building up your public reputation. This is going to really help you in the business aspect here. Now, we also have Venus in your 12th house. 12th house has to do with a lot of your inner work. And then Venus is in opposition to Neptune, which happens to be in your 6th house. Neptune is retrograde through December 12th. So really looking at, is your career, right? 6th house is all about your house of work. It could also be health and diet. Basically what you are doing during most of the day. So Neptune is really going to force you to look within, looking at your emotions, your health routines, really coming into focus. This is going to really favor some spiritual practices, therapy, journaling, or just really finding solitude because your work may be feeling a little overwhelming at this time. You do have Saturn there bringing some grounding effects for you. We also have a beautiful air trine that's happening that will be activating your houses 12, 8, and 4. All right, so I'm going to grab my pencil. So we have Venus here in the 12th, Pluto in your 4th, and then Uranus is here in the 8th. So this is a grand air trine. We are looking at some private transformations here. Really good transit if you are involved in therapy. If you've ever thought about seeking out therapy, this is a good time to really do some inner healing work. Getting involved in a meditation practice. We can really be looking at healing some family patterns with Pluto there in our 4th house. We may be seeing some big family shifts here. But with Venus and Uranus speaking to Pluto in the 4th house, we can see some of these patterns being healed, and we can really look towards some rewarding inner growth here. All right, let me erase that. And then we have the next transit is our Jupiter-Mercury conjunction, which again is happening in our 10th house of the career. So let me move my wheel forward. And there we go. We have the conjunction, and then this Mercury-Jupiter conjunction in the 10th house is sextiling Venus in the 12th house. So we are looking at some career triumphs here. Jupiter is going to bring luck. Mercury is bringing communication. So a lot of that is being highlighted in the career house. And then with Venus coming from the 12th, we are seeing some behind the scenes stuff here. Behind the scenes, she's going to be bringing some peace and some harmony. You may expect to hear some career announcements, some promotion, something that's really recognizing your praise, which will give you a really good sense of grounding and peace. So that's what I have for you, Scorpios. I hope you are looking forward to this week ahead. Let me know if any of this resonates with you. And if you would like to hear more, let me know in the comments. Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Wow, I feel like I start to lose my voice as I get to the end of these videos. I need to build up my tolerance. All right, Sagittarius, this week is looking great in your areas of friend and travel. So I'm wondering if any of my Sagittarius friends have travel plans coming up. So we are going to start with the Ceres Mars conjunction, which is happening in your 7th house. Remember, Ceres is how we nurture and how we nurture others. Your 7th house has to do with your partnerships, marriages, also has to do with legal contracts too. All right, so right now with this happening in your 7th house with Mars, we are attracting partners that are mentally stimulating to us. possibly fast-talking people, curious people. We may be engaged in lively debates with our partners and loved ones. So be careful not to turn it into a competition or arguments, right? Take it with a grain of salt, but you may be getting into some lively discussions with your loved ones. Don't let it get into anything bigger. Like I said, take it as a grain of salt. All right, we have this Jupiter Psyche conjunction, which is happening in your ninth house. Psyche has to do with those soul level themes and experiences that can transform you. So we are really looking at some optimistic insights here happening in your ninth house. Let me spin the wheel here. All right, some cosmic insights, some spiritual breakthroughs through travel, teaching, and publishing. And then we have this new moon that is occurring on or around August 11th, 12th, depending on your time zone. And that is in the sign of Leo. And that is also happening in your ninth house. Ninth house is wisdom, college, foreign travel, could also be legal issues. And then with this eclipse, we have a trine to Pallas, which is represented as A4, which is down here in the sign of Aries, which is in your fifth house of children, of love affairs, of hobbies and reputation. So I would say you could also look at planting seeds in those areas. Now, the ninth house, you may see new doors being opened through education, through travel, through publishing or legal matters. Even something along the lines of spirituality being activated, opening doors here. So if you want to go on a long distance trip, now is a great time to plan for that. Those are all seeds that you can plant within your ninth house. And with the fifth house being activated here, we, could really be looking at some karmic level trips, something that may really impact you spiritually or even educationally, possibly studying abroad. We also have this Venus-Neptune in opposition. So we do have Venus in your 11th house. Your 11th house is your friends, your social groups, in opposition to Neptune, which is again in your fifth house. Now, Neptune will be retrograde through December 12th. And what you may be seeing with this transit is friends, your friends, your social groups. You may come across someone that really inspires you in trying something new, beginning to develop something more creatively. Just be careful you don't put those people on a pedestal. With Saturn there, you want to make sure that you remain grounded. Don't be too overwhelmed by this new person that comes into your life, right? You want to make sure you stay grounded. And then we do have a beautiful air trine that is occurring. This air trine is activating your Venus in the 11th house, Pluto in your third house, and then your house of relationships where Uranus is in your seventh house. So we have this grand air trine really highlighting your friends, your partners, your commitments, really seeing all of them really flourish during this time. And this is actually happening more around the 12th through the end of the week. And this is going to last a while too. So during this transit, you may be meeting some influential people. If you are involved in media, you may be expanding your audience. This is a great time for contracts and getting out there, being involved in the community. The more you get yourself out there, you will see some more positive things coming to you. All right. And then at the end of the week, we have this Jupiter-Mercury conjunction that is happening. And that is happening about the 15th. So like I said, at the end of the week. So we see this Jupiter-Mercury conjunction happening in the sign of Leo. That again is happening in your 9th house. But we have this really nice sextile to Venus, which is still in your 11th house, highlighting education, travel, some influential partnerships. This is a really good feeling of optimism. So I think this week you will be feeling positive. You will be feeling hopeful. You will be feeling like you can conquer the world. Your networks and your groups are just going to work to amplify your ideas and increase your opportunities, really increase your vision. So Sagittarius, that's what I have for you for this week. We've got some really stuff highlighted along those 9th house themes. So let me know if you are planning a karmic trip somewhere. I would love to hear about it in the comments. And if you want to see more weekly horoscopes, this is my first time doing this, let me know, because this has been taking me quite some time to get through these videos. So I hope you will continue to tune in. Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising, we are on to you. And this week I am seeing a lot with your career and some joint opportunities. So first we are starting in your 6th house, which is your house of work, your health, your diet, could also be pets as well. And we have Ceres conjuncting Mars here again in your 6th house. It's happening in Gemini. Now, Gemini also rules the nervous system. So again, I want to coach you through this energy that's going to be happening this week. I want you to guard against chronic stress, fatigue, burnout. You may be feeling some of that with work, some anxieties around that. So I want to make sure, Capricorns, that you do keep yourself grounded. Do make sure that you find things to wind down, calm your body, right? So that you're not always amped up and wired up. We also have this Jupiter Psyche conjunction. That actually was very strong last week on August 6th, but it is still in effect. They are in close conjunction, and that is happening in Leo. And that is in your 8th house. 8th house is all about your shared resources. Maybe thinking about opening up emotionally, and not, I know Capricorns, you like to be controlling, right? You like to know what's coming. You like to have an itinerary. And maybe with Psyche here, this is a soul level theme, right? Maybe we need to think about kind of releasing and giving up some of that control here, and that it's not necessarily a loss of control, but a gateway to empowerment. And I really want you to look and see where Psyche is in your natal chart, or if you have any natal planets that are activated, let me know in the comments. And if you don't know how to get your natal chart, I will link a video. It's a free video where you can print up your chart. I always recommend you have it when we sit down together and we look at the week ahead. More in your 8th house is, that's where we have the eclipse that is occurring on or around the 11th or 12th, depending on your time zone. That also is happening in the sign of Leo, and we are trining the asteroid Pallas, which is all about strategy, taking an idea and turning it into something visible. So I've said in my previous August full outlook, the new moon is all about planting a seed and what you want to start. And so with Pallas here involved trining from your 4th house, You may be receiving some family help, right? The fourth house is all about the family. And this new moon is happening in your eighth house. So new beginnings with your shared finances, inheritances, or even emotional healing. This is a favorable eclipse for you. Not a scary eclipse. It's favorable. It's going to bring about a positive change within you. The next transit is we have Venus, and Venus is up here in your 11th, sorry, not your 11th house, it's in your 10th house of Libra. In your house of career, this is very positive. Your career is looking positive with Venus here. She is in her domicile. And then you've got your fourth house where Neptune is currently in retrograde, causing you to really look within. So any dreams you have around your career, we could look at those dreams being refined. You may be seeing your public and your family pulling you in different directions, really wanting you to create balance. So Neptune is retrograde through December 12th, and Neptune is going to bring about a very soft change, a very soft evolution through this time. It's not going to be a quick jolt, but between now and December 12th, you will start to really see some clarity around your career and what you want to be doing. But again, it's looking very positive in the area of your career right now. And then we have an air trine that is occurring, which is activating your houses 10, 6, and 2. So I'm going to grab my pencil here so I can highlight. So we've talked about Venus up here in your 10th house, activating your second house, which is where Pluto is, and then your sixth house, which also is your house of work with Uranus. So this is your grand air trine. We are seeing a lot of career momentum for you, Capricorns. Also a good time to improve your finances, to improve your salary. If you work in the realm of like real estate where you need clients, this is a good time for attracting more clients or improving your work system. So again, something that you can manifest for the new moon, which we can certainly see come to fruition for this upcoming week. And then we are closing the week out with the Jupiter-Mercury conjunction. And that is happening at the end of the week on the 15th. So you see we have Jupiter-Mercury conjunct here at 10 degrees. Definitely see if you have a natal planet that's being activated here. And then we have a beautiful sextile to Venus again here in your 10th house. So we're connecting the 8th and the 10th house. Financial news, financial breakthroughs, but again with a partner, with a spouse. So your spouse may be seeing a raise or a work bonus coming in, royalties. Your reputation may really shine here. It's a good time for negotiating matters as well. And you're going to be negotiating with grace and authority with Venus here. You're going to come across as being very diplomatic. So Capricorn, that is your week ahead. I hope you have some career goals because it's looking very good in the area of career. So let me know what you have going on. And if this content resonates with you, I always like to hear about that in the comments as well. This is my first weekly forecast. So if you would like to see more, give me a like, give me a subscribe so you get up-to-date notifications. All right, we are going to move on to the next sign. Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising. Welcome. We are talking about your week ahead, and I am seeing a lot activated in your house of relationships and fun. As I said in my intro, I think this is a really good week to be an Aquarius. So Let's see what this week has in store for you. We are going to start with the Ceres Mars conjunction that is happening in your fifth house. Your fifth house is the house of fun, hobbies, children, love affairs, romance, and your energy is sharp here. You have some mental chemistry. You can be involved in some witty banter. Witty banter is going to be your love language this week. This is a great time for exploring new hobbies, really engaging in intellectual play. So Mars is bringing some energy here. And like I said, we have this conjunction with Ceres. So how are you nurturing what you love? You're getting involved in those hobbies. You're going to see a boost in creativity, really looking great. And that is how we are starting out this week. And this is actually coming through from the previous week and will continue on to this week. Now we also have this Jupiter Psyche conjunction, which is happening in your seventh house of relationships, where Leo, you've got a lot of relationship stuff being highlighted this week. So you see Jupiter there in Leo, and Psyche is represented by this little cactus symbol here. Now, Psyche is going to bring some soul level themes and experiences that transform you, some soul connections. It's really exciting that this is happening in your house of relationships. So quite possibly you are involved with someone that is your soul person, or meeting someone that is a soul connection from a previous life. And just because the universe is bringing us someone that we have a soul connection with doesn't necessarily make it a romantic relationship, but could be someone that you have encountered in a previous relationship. So this is happening in your seventh house. And really, your relationships are becoming a mirror for your soul evolution, attracting partnerships that celebrate your individuality and really encourage your mutual growth between you and your partner. And then we have this eclipse that is also happening in your seventh house. And that is on or around August 11th, August 12th, depending on your time zone. Remember, these new moons and eclipses are time to sow the seeds for what you want to develop. So you can look to develop things within that area of business partnerships, within the area of marriage, maybe talking about marriage, having communications. So we're really looking at a new chapter here. And then we have Pallas, which is in your third house, represented by this symbol A4. Pallas is in the sign of communication, and Pallas is the asteroid that brings about strategy, really turning an idea into something visible. So with this trining your seventh house of partnerships, maybe you are looking at your relationship going to the next level, possibly moving in or getting engaged, the next stage of your relationship, a new chapter for you. So Pallas is going to promote healthy communication, fair agreements, some collaborations. And then we have Venus. Venus is sitting up here in your ninth house of travel, of education, of wisdom, of law and legal matters. This is looking like a positive place right now because Venus is in her domicile. Now, Venus is in opposition to Neptune, which is in your third house. Neptune is currently retrograde through December 12th. I want you to be open to a change in your perspective, right? Because Neptune is communication. So you may be meeting someone who is going to bring a different perspective. Be open to that. Always double check your facts, right? Don't defend something to the end until you take time to think about it. Then we have a beautiful air trine that is activating your houses 9, 5, and 1. So let me grab my pencil to highlight that. We've got Pluto in your first house of the self with Uranus in your 5th house over here of fun, and then Venus up here in the 9th. So we are looking at a grand air trine connecting these themes. So adventure, right? 5th house is adventure, creativity. And then we've got Pluto in the 1st house looking at personal evolution, Venus in the 9th house connecting education, travel, and teaching. So this can be opening new doors. You may be encountering a romance that is very exciting or transformative. That's what Uranus is going to bring you, because the 5th house could be romance, it could be children, and it could be creativity and hobbies. So maybe you are even sending a child off to college, and this is redefining your personal identity, right? Because you have children that are leaving the nest. So let me know if any of this is resonating with you. 5th house is a very huge house. So for some of you, it could be children. It could be a romantic relationship. But it is the house of good fortune, and we do have Uranus there. So it definitely is looking like a lucky week for you. And then we are rounding out the week with this Mercury-Jupiter conjunction. And that is sextiling Venus. So Venus up here in the 9th house. And then we have this Mercury-Jupiter conjunction that is happening in the 7th house of relationships. So we are looking at some relationships leading to global success or breakthroughs. Maybe you are seeing some overseas success, right? Or some foreign travel, communication from overseas, business, possibly overseas, conversations about commitment and shared goals. If you have any legal things that are happening this week, this is also looking positive. So a lot of positive things we are looking at this week. So mostly, like I said, I'm very intrigued to know what you have along the lines of relationships, whether you are with a partner or meeting someone new. We're looking at some karmic activations this week. So let me know, Aquarius, if any of this resonates with you. If you like this content, let me know, and you'd like to see more, please let me know in the comments, as this is my first time doing a week ahead review. All right, on to my last sign. All right, last sign, Pisces, we are on to you. And let's see, I'm seeing a lot of activation in your 8th house, which has to do with your shared resources and other people's money. But let's get down to it. First thing, we are starting with Ceres and Mars conjuncting in your 4th house, which is your house of home, family, roots, could also be the house of parents as well. So Ceres here is all about how we nurture ourselves and how we protect what we love. We also have Mars here. So are you going to be engaging in, protecting the home, protecting the family? Is someone in the family being threatened, and you will possibly be stepping up into that role? We also have Uranus here, possibly bringing some shocking news to the home and family. You are going to be a problem solver here. People are going to look for you to coordinate, to be the organizer, really refining, troubleshooting things. But you're going to, because you're taking on this role of organizing for family members, be sure you don't get overwhelmed, and make sure you do find some time for peace and find some quiet solitude for yourself as well. Or you may even be making your home more of a sanctuary and a quiet, safe place. All right, then we have this Jupiter Psyche conjunction, which is happening in your 6th house. So Psyche is this little cactus looking symbol you see right here by Jupiter in the sign of Leo. Psyche has to do with soul level themes, experiences that transform you, soul connections. This is happening in your work house, your house of health, your house of pets as well. We are looking at some healing through restructuring your daily schedule. Are you approaching burnout? What is it that you are taking on? Jupiter's bringing in a lot of work for you here. So really taking a look at your daily activities and how you can refine them. Your work can really transform you here, but I want you to lead with warmth, lead with generosity. But again, with Psyche here, we are looking at some deep karmic things here. So I want you to really be reflective and think about what is being activated in your work house. Now, we also have the eclipse that is also occurring in your work house. So I'm going to move the wheel ahead. That is happening on or around August 11th or 12th, depending on your time zone. So we have this new moon solar eclipse. I talk about this in my all sign August horoscope. This is your time to plant a new seed within your sixth house of work. What is it that you want to accomplish? Now, something I didn't mention is that we have this trine to Pallas. Pallas is right here in your house of finances, in your second house, represented by this A4. So we have this trine to the new moon to your career. So I definitely see this could bring about more money from the work that you do. You're definitely going to see more positive things with your health. You might be seeing more responsibilities, but you're going to discover practical systems that will help you work more efficiently. All right, we also have Venus here. I want to highlight, which is in your eighth house of your shared resources. So Venus is very happy here in the eighth house. Maybe your partner is getting a raise, getting a bonus, more money is being brought in. And then we have Neptune in your second house, which is retrograde. So we could be releasing some financial fears. Maybe we are able to pay off some debts. We have Saturn also there in your second house, keeping you grounded, really making you meticulous and really looking at those finances. But I'm really feeling this may be more of, we're being able to pay off some things here. And then we have a beautiful air trine that is happening and activating your houses 8, 4, and 12. All right, so we've got Uranus here in your fourth house of family, Venus here in your eighth house of shared resources, and then Pluto in your 12th house, which is your inner workings. It's the psyche. So your eighth house is your financial planning house. We know the fourth house is family. And the 12th is your house of intuitive insight. So we are activating all of those houses together, really looking at a constructive change, bringing about opportunity. So this might be a move or an allocation of a family property, some estate planning. If you have an elder relative that's looking to move on, this quite possibly could be a time that that elder relative is moving on. I don't see it as a surprise, but more of a peaceful moving on, which could also bring about an inheritance. Like I said, activating that eighth house. Eighth house could also be the house of death, rebirth, and inheritances. And I do see Pluto in the 12th house. Pluto also represents death, rebirth. Now, mind you, this isn't going to be for the whole collective. This is a collective astrology reading. It certainly is dependent upon where your natal planets are. So I always do ask you to have your natal chart ready. If you don't know how to draw up your natal chart, I do have a video that I will link in the notes. Always have that natal chart ready and see what other planets could be activated, because this could certainly change the outcome for you. So like I said, this is just a umbrella reading, so it won't necessarily happen for everyone here. We also have this Jupiter-Mercury conjunction that is happening at the end of the week on the 15th. So I'm going to move my clock here. So this Jupiter-Mercury conjunction is happening down here in your 6th house. And again, we have Venus up here in your 8th house of shared resources, possibly looking at those work opportunities. And again, the 8th house is shared resources. So I'm wondering if this is tied to a marriage partner or a home partner really getting a boost to their career. You may also see some wellness upgrades here or news regarding a work project, a job offer, or maybe even a health milestone, right? Maybe you've been sick and we're finally done with that and we've healed whatever needs to be healed. You will be able to handle tasks with joy while deepening bonds with people. All right, so that, Pisces, is your week ahead. Let me know how this resonates with you and what's going on for you. If you do like this content, let me know in the comments. And hopefully we will do more. So again, don't forget to like and subscribe.